Although it took him by surprise, he had a feeling this conversation was on its way. He decided to answer truthfully. This is interesting to me too. He decided to answer truthfully. Drawing into question our character's typical possible response to a question like this, and suggesting the idea that maybe he has in the past been dishonest in this regard or along these lines to his partner. Although it took him by surprise, he had a feeling this conversation was on its way. I feel like there's potential here for there to be a more interesting way to say this, possibly going along with this he almost hit the brakes type of language that is both referring to the vehicle and to the emotional context of the piece. I've thought about it, but not that much. I'm trying to not overcomplicate it. I love you, I'm attracted to you, and I enjoy spending time with you. His partner, and then we get to this, his partner should have looked out the window. Is he making that judgment? But instead looked directly at him with eyes full of throttle. This is curious. Full throttle is a common bit of language. Full of throttle, I think, is more poetic and interesting. So here again, we're going to get into kind of the issue that I was drawing attention to in the beginning, being that it seemed that this conflict was not supported by any past or background provided between the characters. But do you know anything about me, about how I identify? How about you? If you're straight, then do you just think I'm a woman? These are all pieces. I find it hard to believe that this line of questioning is being brought about at this point in the relationship. It seems to me that these would be things, if not explicitly addressed at an earlier time, then almost assumed to be understood by the previous interactions of this relationship. But since we don't get any of that, it seems very blunt and hard to place in a larger context of this relationship. About how I identify, how about you? If you're straight, then do you just think I'm a woman? They made a good point, but what if it's not like that? What is the good point? I'd like to hear more. I'd like to get deeper into this. I don't know what I am. I'm not into definitions. I only use my heart. But this must all be really tough for you. I'm sorry. There's a lot of space in this piece to get deeper into the feelings and the perspectives of our two characters. But what I'm seeing is kind of, and possibly intentionally so, a bit of a cop-out answer when this very serious question is posed to our speaker. I don't know what I am. I'm not into definitions. I only use my heart. But this must all be really tough for you. I wonder here what this all refers to. This would be a nice bit of context. And again, I want to know why now. Why is this conversation happening now. Let's move along. I just don't think we're compatible. That's it for me. You can still come surf. We're getting all the formalities of a separating relationship, but because the context surrounding these two characters is not developed, I'm left wondering why. And let's go forward. I think I'm good. He opened his door. They must have been parked outside his partner's house all night talking this out. He looked at the car stereo. It actually only took a half hour for the whole thing to disintegrate, to combust. I'm wondering if this, again, this time thing, all night to a half hour, this is like the same type of word thing happening here. I'm wondering if that's the whole purpose of hyperbole being written here. Do you want a hug? Yes, he said. Can I keep the bike lock? No, just kidding, of course. I guess this is strange to me because his partner came around to the back of the vehicle, their eyes now idling with tears. So the image here is that the partner is taking this more emotionally. I think I'm good. He opened his door. The partner asking, do you want a hug? Yes. Can I keep the bike locked? No, just kidding, of course. And his partner slipped away towards the house. As they closed the front door, he half shouted, it's all fluid, you know. Maybe I'm just Pan. I think this is kind of funny. But he stopped, crawled back into his car, and drove away into the Atlantic night, all chiseled out by wind and rain. So the main issues I'm having with this is, like I said here, I don't feel that this dialogue gives me any insight into the humanness of these characters. And as to picturing them, it's very difficult. Again, I want to know why now this conversation is happening. The ending piece, do you want a hug, is strange to me because it seems that the partner is possibly taking it more emotionally than the guy. Yes, he said, can I keep the bike lock? No, just kidding, of course. It's all fluid, you know, maybe I'm just Pan. To me, overall, it seems a pretty surface level narrative describing the interaction of a non-binary or likewise identified partner with a cisgender hetero male. But as for a deeper treatment of the themes of identity, of gender, of alternative lifestyles, I'm not getting the context that would really flesh out these characters. So the way it's reading comes more off as